Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Lucius and I love animals. I'm trying to grow my collection into a zoo someday. With the new year, I've decided I want to get more into posting on social media. On YouTube specifically, I plan to post vlog type stuff around the zoo around once a week. This is Chimera, and this video is mostly about her. When I was getting into snakes, I always wanted someone to post their experience of working with venomous as they grow, and now today I can be that someone. This is my first venomous snake. She's a western diamondback. At this point, I would like to make it very clear that I do not recommend anyone replicate what I do in my videos, as I am not a professional, and I am choosing to risk my life every time I open her door. If you decide to get into venomous, I recommend doing tons of research, and if possible, getting hands-on training by professionals. I didn't have that readily available to me, but the keeper I bought her from gave me his number if I have any questions, and I know how to keep myself safe, but what works for me may not work for you. Chimera is one of 11 pets I own and hope to share with you. I got her on New Year's Eve from an expo and wasn't able to get much footage of her due to safety and having to work in corporate America, so I got her home and took a couple pictures, but wasn't able to do anything with her for 5 days before it was feeding day. I ended up feeding her live because I wasn't sure if she would eat frozen, and I wanted to see how quickly she could drop them out. Right there, from 20 seconds, it's gone. Unresponsive within 20 seconds of that bite, which is a little scary. So I have to be extra careful with her. As you can see, I didn't bother her too much, and I just ended up letting her go back to her chill time away from humans before I'm able to handle her again, which with most snakes they recommend is about 48 hours. And yes, I do keep her in her sister's room. That's Moon. And this is Chimera finishing up her meal. I ended up setting up the camera in there with her, but it takes a really long time. This is at 10 times the speed, and eventually she just drags it off camera, so I ended up cutting it. So this is the first time I'm handling her, aside from when I brought her home. The difference there is when you first bring a snake home, your main focus is just getting them in their enclosure. This is a longer experience for them, and it's a training experience for both of you. She needs to learn that when I come into her enclosure, I mean her no harm. I'm simply just taking her out and becoming more familiar with her, getting her to trust me so that someday she doesn't have to be so afraid every time I take her out to clean her enclosure or whatever the case may be. Part of the reason that it took so long getting her out was because the hook is so big compared to her, but honestly, I do like the hook. It was actually made by the person I bought her from, and he only keeps rattlesnakes in his inventory, so I know the hook is good for her. I just, it was my first time using it, and it was kind of big. Now I'm going to fast forward to the important part so that I can break down what I'm doing as I'm doing it. And it turns out the first thing I need to point out is a mistake. My left hand, is not holding that hook right, which I get better with over time. The better way to do it is to hold it a little bit lower so you have more leverage with your arm. And then the other thing I'm doing that is correct is supporting the snake's body with 2 hooks. I personally don't really like seeing snakes being held by 1 hook because I feel like that would be very uncomfortable for them. Now I'm just kind of walking around showing her that just because we're in the same space doesn't mean I'm a threat to you. I want to show her that me standing or sitting is also not a threatening position. Doesn't matter how I'm holding the hooks. Just kind of getting her a little bit used to me and the way I interact with her. As you can hear, she's pretty upset the entire time. For the most part, she's a pretty chill snake. She doesn't really rattle until you touch her, which I would like to state is not the case for all rattlesnakes. Especially western diamondbacks, most people would not recommend them as a starter venomous snake, and I want to take a second to acknowledge that. I never recommend looking away from the venomous animal that you're working with. I only did that to double check that my cameraman was okay and still felt comfortable being in the room with me. Most western diamondbacks are not this chill though, and that's why most people wouldn't recommend them as a good starter snake. She's pretty chill. I'm just petting her with the snake hook to get her used to me touching her, because someday I would like to be able to grab her tail with my hand and only use 1 hook with her, but I'm not going to force that. I'm going to be very safe about it, work at my own pace, and hopefully get her more comfortable with me, but that's going to take lots of time and training. This training session went on a lot longer than I would have liked it to. I didn't really notice as it was happening because when you have all that adrenaline flowing through you, it kind of makes time feel like it's moving a little bit different. Sadly, the session has gone on for long enough. It is her first time ever being handled this way, so I want to keep the sessions relatively short so that I'm not overly stressing her out. But as you can see, she is pretty stressed, and she ends up biting the snake hook a couple times. Hopefully, over time, she'll learn that she has nothing to be afraid of, and she'll get more comfortable with these little sessions hanging out with her. Fun fact, Western Diamondbacks are pit vipers, and the specific venom that they carry is myotoxic, which means it paralyzes you, cytotoxic, which means it breaks down the cells around the bite, so you have necrosis, and then hemotoxic, which attacks your blood and causes all kinds of heart issues and organ issues. I finally got her in there, and now we need to safely get her hide and screen top back on top of her. So I use the hook and keep my hand hidden under the hide, just kind of lower it in there. And then with the screen, same thing, but I keep my hands hidden safe behind the glass, and she's all tucked away. Which I think is worth mentioning. I do keep her in a closet in Moon's room, so she's behind 3 layers before she can get to us. Look at her. Aww. Anywho. She's so cute. If you weren't venomous, I'd just pick you up right now. She like sits in a way like I want to pinch her. Same thing as last time, just keeping the session short and just giving her little pets with the snake hook, making sure she's getting used to me touching her. Hopefully she won't even notice me touching her eventually. Sorry about the audio cut, my cameraman is shy. I am way better with the snake hook now. I feel like I understand better how to use them. That was just about it for the week. Later that week, we ended up feeding her frozen, which I was very glad she did take it. So she's doing good. And friendly reminder to like and subscribe if you're interested in seeing more stuff like this. Next week, I'm going to be posting more about my other animals. Thank you so much for watching.